This is Rob Tebbett for Seconds Out. I'm delighted to be joined by Don Charles here today at Boxer London. How are you, Don?
I'm doing very well, thank you. On a very cold weather. Were you all right getting here?
It was okay. It's all worth it for seeing you. So, yeah.
Likewise.
Just want to gauge your opinion on the big fight this weekend. Obviously, Deontay Wilder defends his WBC World Heavyweight title against Wilder-Ortiz. How do you see the fight going?
A very interesting fight, very interesting fight. As over the period of, when fights are announced, you kind of immediately you believe you pick the winner. I've kind of halfway through a few weeks ago, I thought, you know what? Because I totally wrote off Ortiz. I was a fan of Ortiz when he first came onto the scene. Then when I met him in person, no disrespect to him, to me, he's older than what he says he is, to me. Okay, I may be very wrong. And I thought, my goodness, I'm an old guy. He's as old as me, in my opinion. So to me, that's a big factor in this fight, the age thing. Technically, he's very, very good. He's a very strong guy. He's a southpaw. And when I've weighed up all the pros and cons, the strengths and the weaknesses, I still can't see any other result except for Wilder winning this fight.
Now, obviously, the fight was arranged and then it was postponed for a variety of reasons. Do you think that the layoff would have worked against Luis-Ortiz? He has got that little bit more older, and do you think that's in the favour of Deontay Wilder?
I think the layoff is in the favour of Luis-Ortiz.
Oh, really? How come?
In my opinion, again, he looks in far better condition now. I've watched him lately preparing and stuff. And also mentally, he's had longer to digest it and to get, let's say, a better plan. And he's grown in confidence over a period of time. Yeah, so I think the time, in fact, is favoured Ortiz than Wilder.
Now, you're somebody who's worked with a variety of heavyweight fighters over the years. You've seen some of the best heavyweights in this country, certainly. What do you think is going to be the key when Deontay Wilder steps in the ring to Luis-Ortiz from a technical point of view? You've mentioned that Luis-Ortiz is a very technical fighter. Deontay Wilder, by general admission, sometimes doesn't do the right things from a technical point of view. How do you see them panning up against each other when they step into the ring? Right.
Basically, I don't think, let me speak for Ortiz, the positives for Ortiz. I don't think he's fazed by Wilder. He's not going to be scared of him. Okay. In terms of technique, he's very, very, very well schooled. Ortiz, being Cuban, they're usually very, very well schooled. Again, I believe that Wilder, it surprised me when he first fought Stefan. Not the second fight with Stefan, the first fight with Stefan. I didn't believe he had the boxing ability he showed, he demonstrated when he initially won the title from Bermane Stefan. He absolutely boxed Bermane Stefan. I didn't think he had that. I didn't think he could box on his back foot, and he demonstrated whilst beating Stefan for the WBC title. So if he's able to adjust, if he can keep his cool head, in this fight he has to keep a cool head. Because if he opens up, like sometimes it can be a little bit wild, and you could drive a double-decker bus through his defense when he's like that, and Ortiz would exploit that. If he opens up prematurely, trying to take Ortiz out, he will get pinged. Especially when you're fighting a southpaw, you have to be extra cautious, make sure your positioning is out of the danger zone. So provided he obeys the rules there are rules when you fight a southpaw. If you don't obey those rules, he will get punished. Because Ortiz, one thing for sure, he's got the experience, he's got the punching power, okay? I believe that Wilder should give himself, to win this fight, he has to maneuver, his ring craft have to be top class. He has to maneuver himself into a position to be able to unleash his big right hand. Positioning, movement is the key. If you remember, Ortiz, as powerful as he is, he struggled, couldn't get rid of a guy called Malik Scott. He took 12 rounds and he couldn't get rid of Malik Scott. Why? Because Malik Scott, one thing Malik Scott did do was survive, but how did he survive? He was constantly on the move. So I believe for Wilder to win, he has to adapt some of that. Yeah, in most parts of that fight, he has to be moving, and then hopefully Ortiz can walk onto things.
And we've obviously got Anthony Joshua facing Joseph Parker as well. A lot of talk has been about Deontay Wilder potentially facing Anthony Joshua, maybe some stage later on in this year. With that being said, do you think that this is an inordinate risk for Deontay Wilder to be fighting somebody like Luis Ortiz?
No, because, you know, he said it himself, Deontay Wilder, which is what I really like about the guy. The two best heavyweights, bar Tyson Fury, because he will come into the equation eventually. The two heavyweights, active heavyweights right now is Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. So basically, I think he needs to have a fight like this. Also, there's a lot of fans who are not convinced yet that he's the real deal. Although he's unbeaten and he's blown away, literally every opponent that stepped into the ring has blown them away. Even Anthony Joshua, people were still doubting Josh till he demonstrated what he did against Klitschko. He went down, yeah? And it takes great mindset to have gotten off that ground, off that floor, and to pull off a victory in such a emphatic fashion. So a lot of doubters, again, would have started to believe now, you know what, this kid's for real. And in terms of Wilder, he may have to go through some rough waters against Ortiz, and I believe he will. It's not going to be, this is not a straight foregone conclusion. I think he's going to go through some rough waters, and I believe he will come out on the other side victorious. And then, no, he needs a fight like this for himself, for the fans, to showcase to the fans, and also for himself. He claims to be the best. He says, I am the best, I am the baddest man on the planet, heavyweight on the planet. So therefore, for himself, he has to not convince himself, he has to demonstrate to himself that, yes, I am the baddest man on the boxer heavyweight on the planet right now.
Okay, I just want to speak to you about some comments that Deontay Wilder made yesterday in the build-up to his fight with Luis Ortiz. He referenced Eddie Hearn. He spoke of Eddie Hearn being just another white man. I think the phrase was just another white man milking another black man. Do you have any comments on that?
I haven't heard that. Somebody else prior to this, you asking me, somebody else mentioned that. I hadn't actually heard the interview. That would be, you know, I hate... We're living in a world where I believe things have moved on, and we want to encourage it to carry on moving on. When you hear something like that, should you really have to go down that route to bring attention to this? It doesn't need it. Boxing at the moment is at its fever pitch at the moment, worldwide, especially in England. That's kind of negative, right? I think Eddie Hearn has done tremendously, really good with boxing, for British boxing. And I believe he'll continue to do so. So for what, that's Wilder's opinion, but I don't share that opinion.
Do you think that could be, not a negotiating tactic, but do you think that could be aimed at potentially ruffling the feathers of the Anthony Joshua camp?
There's many other ways of doing that, Dan. You don't have to bring the color thing in. In my opinion, this is my opinion, you don't have to bring the color thing into it. So are you telling me that when Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua eventually meet, whether it's here or in the US, no, you see, you can't, because in the existence of boxing, if we're going to bring the color into it, are you going to suddenly then say that you're not going to accept the money that you're being offered because it's coming via the way of a white promoter? Are you going to say that? And if a white boxer came out and said that, I will take offense. If a white boxer came out and said, "Oh, the black promoter is just another cash cow. This white fight is another cash cow for." Do you know what I mean? So, like I said, it's personally, I don't agree with those. You don't have to go down that route to ascertain or to achieve what you're looking for. Whether you're trying to build up the controversial to ignite, perhaps. And I hope that is what his tactics are, is to throw some fuel into the fire to let the whole place burn down.
Okay, and just finally, Don, with regards to Deontay Wilder versus Luis Ortiz, can we push you for a final prediction?
Yes. I've always chosen Deontay Wilder to be victorious. I believe he will go through some rough waters. I keep referring to rough waters to get his victory. And I'm calling it. And I do see a stoppage, because you've got two guys who are punchers here. Okay, I'd be very, 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 very surprised if this fight does go the full distance. I don't believe it will. I believe it's going to be concluded inside eight rounds, I believe, or quicker.
And a Deontay Wilder win.
Yes, I believe he will be victorious.
Okay, well, Don Charles, thanks very much for speaking to Seconds Out. Look forward to catching up with you soon.
My pleasure, and you're always welcome here.